This tutorial is about solving percent proportions. There is a formula, if you will, that we follow. We put part over whole is equal to the percent over 100, and that 100 never changes. It's always there. So what if we are finding the percent of a number? So for example, it might be worded like, what is 40% of 300? So we're going to write part over whole is equal to percent over 100, and we're going to start filling in. What's my part? I don't know. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to find. The whole is 300. 40 goes where the percent goes, and 100 is always there. All right, so I have this whole fraction here, this whole ratio. So I'm going to go from here to here. How do I get from 100 to 300? You multiply by 3. So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top since these are equivalent fractions. So 40 times 3 gives me 120. Okay, now sometimes when you're asked this question, some students find it easier to take my 40%, change it into a decimal, and then take that times the 300 because you're finding 40% of 300, and that little word of means you're going to multiply. So 300 times 0.4 will give you 120 as well. All right, but when in doubt, set it up and solve it. Now, what if you're asked to find the percent given the part and the whole? So in other words, what percent is 7 of 25? So 7 is my part, 25 is the whole. My percent, I don't know, but that 100 stays the same. Okay, since I have this whole side, I need to figure out how do I get from here to here. 25 times 4 gives me 100, so 7 times 4, x is 28. And, I almost forgot. Since we're finding the percent, I have to put that percent sign with it. Otherwise, that is incorrect. All right, find the whole given the part and the percent. So 24% of what number is 6? 6 is your part. So 6 out of we don't know is equal to 24 over 100. I have this whole side, so I'm going to go from here to here. So how do I get from 24 to 6? You divide by 4. So whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So 100 divided by 4 gives me 25. All right, now they're not always that easy. Sometimes they give you like a word problem like this. 400 athletes, 120 are basketball players. What percent, there's my X, what percent are not basketball players? Well, these are the number of players that are basketball players. I want to know how many are not. So first, I'm going to take 400 and I'm going to subtract 120. Oop, didn't need to do that. Okay, that's 10. Let's do 80. Okay, 280 players are not. So what percent of 400 is 280? So part over whole equals my percent over 100. My part was 280 out of the 400 athletes. Don't know the percent over 100. Okay, I have this entire side. How do I get from 400 to 100? I divide by 4. So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So in this case, I get 70% is equal to the x. Now, if you don't know, just divide it out. 280 divided by 4, work it out. Okay, and on any one of these, when you set up the proportion, you can also cross multiply and then divide to figure out your missing value. I hope this helped.